This is Dion Blumenrader with Big Hoss One Sauce, and you're listening to the best show on all things barbecue with my man, Greg Rempe.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to. Hit me!
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle.
Sean Bono! It's all about the Sean Bono, dude!
Succulent fish! What?
He ate 54 wieners.
But listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
And just like that, we are into the second hour. Barbecue Central show. If you missed the first hour, don't worry. Recording, and it will be up tomorrow on the pods. Second hour up on Thursday. I don't know if anybody caught that. I was talking about Dion Blumenrader for Big Hoss One Sauce, and then the ID opening up the second hour by complete random chance, Dion Blumenrader from Big Hoss One Sauce. Oh my Lord! Here's John Solberg going, no way. What were the chances? I got to tell you. I mean, I can tell you exactly what the chances were. Go to station IDs. It was a 1 in 29 chance that was going to happen. A 1 in 29 chance that Dion Blumenrader was going to show up, because I have 29 of these IDs that are put in through a PAL script, and they just randomly get picked out of this folder and shot up. That's why sometimes you hear them more than once, and other times, I don't remember the last time we heard the Dion one. What are the chances? That was insane. 1 out of 29. Those are pretty, like if you're horse racing, 1 out of 29, I'm putting $2 on the horse that's going out 29-1. I can guarantee that. I'm always putting anything high 20s or longer. Always have to put $2 to win. And perhaps box him with the favorite. Why not? Anybody remember this ID?
This is Jim Minion from Two Loose Screws. I'm listening to Barbecue Central.
Anybody know who Jim Minion is? Legend in the barbecue world? Email me who Jim Minion is, and I'll send you a mask. If you wear masks. Maybe you don't wear masks. Maybe you're an anti-masker. Still to come on the show in about 12 minutes, Kosmo's Q's founder, Darian Khosravi, or Kosmo as he goes, or you might know him. So looking forward to seeing what Kosmo's been up to. And then closing out the show, 35 past the hour, Ted Conrad from Fireboard. So if you have questions, I know Meathead and I, after we got through the laborious McRib talk that was totally unforeseen, talked about wireless meat probes. So we'll see what Ted is up to in that regard. Drunken Honky weighing in with a solid 3-month looking growth on the stash, bro. Thank you. Drunken Honky. That name could only lead to trouble. But appreciate you giving me love for the stash. Which, proven out, this is getting shaved off tomorrow. But I wanted to grow it out for about a week just to see if anybody would notice. And the first thing out of Meathead's mouth was, oh, old people say, you got a caterpillar underneath your nose. Or I think also old people say, you got a little dirt under above your lip. Old people. Get off my grass. Yeah, see? But I said, most of you know me. No facial hair. Sometimes with the beard. Always a battle with the hair on my head, but facial hair, but never, ever a mustache other than that picture I threw up when Sam was on last week. And I said, hey, if you know somebody that has never had a mustache and then the next time you see them, they have a mustache, weird. It never doesn't look weird. You can't get over it. It's one of those things you can't not see ever again. Don't forget, you can follow me socially at BBQ Central Show on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, and Parlor. That's it. /BBQ Central Show on Facebook and Twitter, /RD Rempe on the tubes, where you will find live video feeds, respectively, on those last three. Coming up on the best moments of the BBQ Central Show in 10 minutes or less, this Friday, a watershed benchmark moment, episode 150. We give John a huge round of applause on that. Unbelievable. 150 episodes. I was talking to John earlier today, and I said, man, we're entering in our third year. Perhaps he caught me in some error. He's like, you said something about third year, and he's like, no. No. Entering into, at the turn of the year, our fourth year of best of shows. Holy moly. Simple math, of course, would tell you that we're well into the third year, but I'm not very good at math. I hate reading. A lot of the fundamental things that make you a success in life I find to be tedious, so I don't do them very well. Anyway, 150 episodes in. This one takes you back to November 8th, 2016. And remember that really awesome barbecue competition called King of the Smoker? Of course you do. We talked about it all the time on the show when it was happening for like 9 or 10 years. It was easily the most sought-after contest that every pitmaster wanted to be invited to that calendar year. When teams weren't invited that year, they would take to social media and cry and whine and bitch about not being part of the cool kid crowd. And within this episode, you hear me dial up Sterling Ball to talk about the list. And when I say dial up, this was an impromptu call. This isn't like I say it's impromptu and it was set up. But if you go back and listen to the whole show, because that whole show link is included in the show notes, and just go to the second hour, I think pretty much from the top of the second hour all the way through, even past Sterling's interview, was one of the best single hours in show history. J. Kenji Lopez Alt, or K, whatever. He was supposed to be on as the first guest in the second hour, and something happened. He forgot, or we couldn't make the connection. Time zone confusion, whatever the hell happened. So I was vamping, and I had mentioned offhanded at the top of the vamp that the list had been out. And I said, you know what? The list is out. People are bitching. Let's just dial up Sterling and see what happens. So I picked up the phone and dialed him up, and he picked up, and I was like, hey, we're live on the air. And he's like, hey, thanks for the notice. Thanks for the heads up, pal. Then we proceeded to do any number of minutes, and it was a great conversation. So you have to be subscribed to the podcast in order to get the best of. And again, a great whole second hour. You got to check it out. Also, it appears that some of you had issues when it came to getting the first hour of the podcast last week. Apple had some issues along with some other catchers. Google had no issue, of course, but others had some issues. So my first bit of technical advice is this: when things like this happened, and perhaps I've mentioned it before, don't assume that the error is on my end. I am pretty smart. I'm pretty adept at this whole podcast uploading game at this point, now 14 years in or so. And if we're going to play the blame game, always assume the error is on your end first. After you take your responsibility, try unsubscribing from the feed. Then resubscribe to the feed and see if that doesn't fix it. 99% of the time, that will remedy the situation. Now, in the 1% of the time that it does not...
Andrew, you are not the father.
That it does not fix that particular error, then and only then can you assume the error might be on my side. You can also assume that at least 70 or 100 other people have already emailed me about the specific issue that you are about to email me about. You can also assume that I am working diligently and feverishly on resolution. If it gets really into the weeds, then I'll also make social media posts alerting you to the fact that the podcast isn't up and hopefully a ETA to resolution. But always, always try unsubscribing and then resubscribing first before you go back and hit me up and say, what happened? I was going back and forth with Richard Vandermeulen on Thursday about this very issue. And this Richard, he is a true fan. Someone who really listens to the show and digs into the minutia. And here's what I mean. As we're going back and forth about the show not being up and the first hour missing, blah, 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 he tosses in and I quote, could it be cat piss? Couldn't it be? Well played, Richard. Well played. By the way, if you have been hoping and praying for a cat piss update, I'm happy to tell you there are no...
Andrew, you are
not giving you new cat piss updates because there's no new cat piss updates to give you. Nope. Pheromones proliferating through the house. Check. Full Prozac shots to chill him the fuck out. Check. Pissing in the house? Not for 4 weeks. I think going on 4 weeks. So I'm happy to give you an update about no cat piss updates. Yeah. I'm also happy to talk to you quickly about Big Poppa Smokers before we get in with Kosmo's Q. Big Poppa's, known for the championship rubs and seasonings. Popular flavors like Sweet Money, Cattle Prod, Cash Cow. What the hell? All proven winners on the competition scene and in backyards like mine. Big Poppa Smokers offers 13 perfectly balanced flavors that will transform ordinary meals into extraordinary. Whether you're cooking to impress the judges or grilling for the family, Big Poppa Smokers' award-winning rubs and seasonings don't disappoint. They also have a line of barbecue sauce that they own and very proud of. If you're looking for the no-go-to sauce, try Granny's barbecue sauce, reminding us of why we fell in love with barbecue in the first place. Aside from the premium selection of rubs and sauces, they also offer the very best pellet, charcoal, and wood cookers available today. If you're looking for a versatile smoker that's easy to use, check out the Mac 2-Star General Pellet Grill. Big Poppa Smokers, the exclusive Mac dealer, even offering special packages if you're not a fan of pellet smokers. Take a look at the Old Hickory Ace BP. It's the only charcoal smoker that Big Poppa trusts on his competition trailer. Not sure of what grill you need? Questions, comments, concerns? Give them a call. They're here to help. 877-828-0727. That's 877-828-0727, or shop their website, bigpoppasmokers.com. That's BIGPOPPA smokers.com. Big Poppa. I love it when you call me Big Poppa. All right, Kosmo's in the green room. We'll be back to chat with him and catch up. Stick around. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the #1 most downloaded barbecue and grilling podcast anywhere. The BBQ Central Show. Monthly visits from a killer hog, a cooking guy, a man named Meathead, the author of Barbecue Bible, a grill girl, a bristly barbecue journalist, and the malfeasance of the barbecue world known as the embedded correspondents. Only found right here on the BBQ Central Show.
Hey, this portion of the show being brought to you by Pit Barrel Cooker, the most unbelievable outdoor cooking device on the planet, currently available in 2 sizes. But there's going to be a third, potentially a fourth. Whether you're a beginner or professional, definitely a cooker you want to add to the arsenal. Visit pitbarrelcooker.com and tell them the BBQ Central Show sent you. My next guest was last seen right here on this show, October 2015, if you can believe it, when he won the SCA World Championship title of the universe, which, by the way, was just used as a best of segment on this show a few weeks ago. He has since continued the cooking, both on the competition scene, but also blossomed a nice YouTube channel as well as the rubs and sauces and barbecue and grilling products. So let's go ahead and race to the hotline. And welcome back, Darian Khosravi, Kosmo. Hey, pal, how are you?
Hey, how's it going, Greg?
Kosmo, do they call you Darian or do they call you Kosmo? Is it a mix of the two? I mean, what do you hear the most of?
Cosmo.
Cosmo?
Yeah.
All right. Do you care how I address you this evening?
Oh, no, it doesn't matter to me.
Right.
Most people, when they call me Darian, I think I'm in trouble, though. So.
That's right. Mama's calling. So Kosmo joining us here on the show. Cosmo's Q, just the letter Q at the end. .com is the website. If you're not familiar, you can go ahead and check that out here while we're chatting it up. So as I had mentioned when we were sound checking earlier, Kosmo, just for the folks that maybe are tuning in tonight for the first time or they're just getting into the barbecue and grilling game, quick background about you, how you got into barbecue and when you started the whole business.
I started barbecuing, and I believe it was 2004. That's when I started competing on the professional circuit. Started making my own rubs, injections, stuff like that. We started the company in 2009, and now a short 11 years later, here we are. So
what's the growth process been like for you over those years? I mean, things that you thought might hit that didn't, things that you thought might be average at bets that really came out of the woodwork and surprised you with a success.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I was when I started barbecuing, there was not I'm not going to say not anything, but there was not much on the market. If you wanted something special, you had to make it. And so that's what I did. And then once I started learning, the science behind the rubs and the injections, then that really started opening up some doors for me. I probably have just as many products that aren't on the market that are waiting to get put on the market than what we already have on the market.
Has there been a cycling out? I mean, have you removed stuff that maybe was popular at one point and has fallen off for one reason or another?
Yeah. We have taken some things off of there. We've changed some things. The crazy thing is I remember the honey barbecue sauce. We couldn't give it away. And then I got to thinking, I got to looking at it, and I was like, well, yeah, wonder. I mean, everything is named honey barbecue now because, everyone wanted a flavor. So we went back to the test lab and put jalapeno in it and then called it honey jalapeno, and now it's one of our best sellers.
Was it just a matter of the name itself, or was there a flavor profile issue where you had to add a jalapeno or something else to really push it over the top?
I think it was I think for the sales wise, marketing wise, it was a name. It was a name issue. The sauce was amazing, absolutely amazing. But once we added the jalapeno to it, it changed the game of it.
Kosmo joining me here from Kosmo's Q, kosmosq.com, the website. Just to harken back from a couple moments ago, you had said back when you had got into it, if you wanted something really specialty, it's something that you had to make yourself. Fast forward here into the end of 2020, everything seems to be widely available. Bringing new stuff or jumping into the barbecue rub and sauce game. Meathead was just on in the first hour. He's bringing 3 rubs to market in the first quarter of next year. He's going to bring some sauce in. To me, as somebody who sees a lot of business, as a fan of business in general, sees where the market was when you got into it, sees where the market is today. I mean, dude, there's no fucking way that I would consider bringing a rub or an injection or a sauce because there are so many heavy hitters. There's such a huge hurdle to overcome to get out of the white noise. How do you continue to separate it? Is it because you've built the name brand all the way back then and continued to steamroll through and you are above the noise at this point on new product offerings?
I believe we are. I believe we are above the noise. We've built a brand for the last 11 years on the competition circuit, and it's proven. And I think one thing that everybody that's ever met me can say is he may be a lot of things, but it isn't bullshit, And And that's why I don't bullshit anybody. If it sucks, I'll tell you it sucks. And that's just the way I am. So I think everybody trusts the fact that, if we put something on the market, we put a lot of thought, a lot of money, a lot of sweat and tears behind it. For instance, the cherry habanero barbecue sauce, that was 18 months in the making. We're fixing to release 2 new rib glazes in the month of December that have taken 2 years.
Wow.
2 years. And when Kosmos comes to market with something, it's been ran through the ringer. The backside of that is I think so many people come to the market now. They get a name or they win something, they do something, and they have a rub manufacturer reach out to them and they say, "Hey, can we make some rubs for you?" And they say, "Yeah." And it's just most of the time it's not even their blend. They don't even know that they could change it. They slap their name on it, white label it, throw it out there, and then, next thing you know, they're sitting with, a half a pallet of rub in their shop, handing it out for Christmas presents. And I'm like, which you got to try, I get it. You got to try, but once you take delivery of the rubs, that's when the real work begins, or the sauces or the injections. You got to put the work into it to get it out, to get it in people's hands. I used to think of myself as like the dope dealer. I'd go around a barbecue competition handing out free baggies of it.
Look, I mean, you can't. It's good to do that grassroots marketing, and you could probably rely on the internet for a certain amount, but you can't. Yeah. You can't fool yourself into thinking that you're going to be solely successful on the internet. There's other things that have to happen. So, was it an easy learning curve for you to go out and solicit retail chains and the mom and pop barbecue grilling stores and things like that, or was that tough for you to get going?
Most here it was very hard to get going. I've only asked maybe 5 locations to carry our stuff. Every other one has contacted us to carry it. Soon to be Shields. I didn't know you. I didn't have a clue who Shields was. I thought it was a mom and pop hardware store, and turns out they're anything but a mom and pop hardware store. Ace Hardware, they contacted us. Yep. We're in 4,800 stores nationwide. We now have a huge distribution center in Canada. We got a distribution center in Australia, soon to be one in New Zealand.
Wow.
We have one in the UK, and we're growing.
Are you like multi-million-dollar like gross revenue company at this point?
Yeah, we passed that about 5 years ago.
Oh yeah, now we're talking heavy hitter. Look out! So are you driving the Phantom now, or is it the like 911 Cayman Sport Coupe, or what do you like?
I just bought a 2019 Tacoma.
Wow, high roller. I love it. You got a lift kit on that bitch or no?
Yeah. I put a 6-inch lift on it and some 35s, and then it was slow before. Now it's even slower. So
yeah, nice. Now, are you like a lot of business folks who have seen a lot of growth this year, and many have said that this is a throwaway year because, outside of the food service, that's a whole different chain, way on the opposite side of the spectrum. But it seems like everybody else within the live fire industry is having a record year, so much so that they can't now forecast from this year into next year. They're looking back at like 2019, 2018 to get a better gauge on what 2021 will look like. So what's 2020 looking like for you currently as we're wrapping up, and how are you forecasting into 2021?
Forecasting is such we've grown 100% year over year for the last 6 years.
Wow.
So it's the only thing that we have that shows predictability is that growth right there. We plan for that growth. Now, we don't invest in that growth, but we do plan for it. We do forecast for it, and we are pushing for it. Our team will grow to, in 2021, it'll probably be in the neighborhood of 25 to 30 employees.
Wow.
So, I'm of the belief that companies are made in times like this, and I'm not going to sit here and let anything go to the wayside.
Are most of the employees with you in Oklahoma, or are they scattered across the country at this point?
Most of them are in Oklahoma, but we have some scattered. We have them in Oklahoma and outside of Oklahoma, I'll say.
What's Thanksgiving going to look like for you guys? You a fairly traditional household?
It's, I think my family's anything but traditional. Everybody's wanting barbecue, and I'm like, oh my gosh, man, can we just have pizza or something?
You're like the chef that cooks all day, and then you got to go home, and Beverly's like, "No, cook for us, chef."
Yeah, so that's okay. I'll probably do a brisket and a pork butt and maybe some ribs or something. And
no turkey.
No.
Wow.
I'll get turkey. So I go to 2 Thanksgiving. So my family will be here at my house, and then my wife's family will go down there, and it'll be turkey and ham and oyster stuffing and the whole thing.
Yeah, more traditional stuff. So you had mentioned the what was it? The cherry habanero rib glaze.
No, the new rib glazes coming out are the maple bourbon and the sticky Asian.
Sticky Asian. All right. And when are those due out?
I believe they are going to drop December 12th.
All right. So,
and we're gonna if anybody knows me, I would make sure you're on our email list and just make sure you're well connected, because on December 12th there's going to be some smoking deals flying out.
All right. So just about a month from now, so be on the lookout for that. As far as Thanksgiving is concerned, even though it's you might have one traditional and one not so traditional, or more barbecue traditional. Do you still have that brine kit for sale? Because I know we still have some time where if it's still available, people could order and get it in time for the holidays.
Yeah, we're running low on them. I think this year we forecasted on about 15,000, and we're running low, and it's not even, 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, but you can still order probably within, if you order this week, you should be safe.
Yeah. All right. Cosmosq.com is the website. Also, what I have kind of rediscovered or kept following you, I guess I should say, instead of rediscover, is YouTube. So I have, some of the biggest YouTubers are showing up on the show now. Malcolm Reed is on the first Tuesday of the month in the first hour. I don't know if you're familiar with somebody called Sam the Cooking Guy, but he's on in the second hour. Malcolm's got over 1 million YouTube subscribers. Sam has over, 2.5 million YouTube subscribers, and you're clocking in right now at 255,000. So from a barbecuer's perspective, I mean, you have quite a number of YouTubers. When I went back and did a little due diligence, it looked like you had kind of started into the YouTube about 7 years ago. There might have been a gap, and then you really started to hunker down and get into it. And you can see the production and the quality change, and a little bit more of Kosmo's on-camera personality or persona coming out there, especially over the last handful of years. So what attracted you to YouTube, and when did you realize it was something that you can capitalize on and push the brand?
Well, anybody that has a barbecue business knows that your customer service emails are full. How do you cook this? How do you do this? What cooker do you like? What charcoal do you like? And then I was sitting there one day and I was like, man, I should just put all this on video. And then that way it kind of kills 2 birds with 1 stone. People, we can send this to them if they got a question, but also everybody on YouTube. YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. And a lot of people don't know that. So I was thinking, hey, man, if we could capitalize and just, carve out a little space for us. Now, obviously, we're going up against, giants, in the industry like Malcolm, Guga, Sam. There's a bunch of them. But here's the deal. I was like, you know what? I mean, hey, they're great at what they do. I'm not them and they're not me. And, all I can do is throw myself out there. hope it sticks and see what happens. So yeah, we've been very blessed. I think last year at this time we was coming up on 80,000, and in the last year we went from 80 to 90,000, 100,000, something like that, to 250,000. I just took some time off of YouTube. I think that was the last video I posted. I'm quitting YouTube just to take a break because I did it 4 years straight without one single week off.
Wow.
And I was just like, man, I just need 5 minutes to, gather myself. And
I mean, we see a finished product, and it's as I had mentioned, I mean, the quality and the production value has went up tremendously from when you started. So from a finished product that we see, what does it look like raw? I mean, are you days in? Are you multiple hours in on a shoot, and then you get that 15 to 20 minutes that we're seeing?
Yeah. So normally for us, we have a YouTube planning meeting the week before. So we talk about what it is, what video we're going to do, what it's going to look like, kind of how we're going to shoot it, the story arc, so to speak. That's usually on a Friday. On a Monday, all of the shopping gets done for that video. On a Tuesday, we come in and actually shoot the video, which actually takes all day long. And then we edit Thursday, Friday, do revisions on Friday, and then it goes live the following week.
Wow.
So it's a full-time job.
I had mentioned the steak title back in 2015, last time you were on. Also, you're active in the KCBS or barbecue competition scene, aside from the SCA. Where are you sitting at in just the thoughts of competition? You still real into it? Are you kind of in and out of it? Where are you at?
To be honest, for me, like, I'm kind of not into it right now.
Just because of what's happening?
No, it actually has nothing to do with what's happening. It's because it's such a shit show of a crapshoot that, I think on the competitor side, it's very difficult, because everyone's doing a class nowadays. So all the recipes are out there. Yeah. And if they're not, they will be in about 37 minutes. But then even from a judging standpoint, I talk to judges and they're like, some of them are sitting at tables and they're going like, how'd you give this guy or this person this score when, like, the judging from my last competition was very inconsistent. And I just think I sit there and I go, I'll be honest with you. Here's what I said to myself. This cost me about $1,500 to come do this bullshit.
Yeah.
If I spent $1,500 on YouTube videos and Facebook ads, how much more business could I get?
Right.
And I can drink beer at the house. So that's what I did.
Is it a wait and see then for you? Like, you'll wait to hear back from other pit masters and stuff for the people that are out there to see if the judging is getting better, if you want to dip your foot in, or could you be out?
I think for me, I still have my competition trailer. I still got my 1 ton that I pull it around with, and I'm still going to use it. Matter of fact, I just put a brand new Jambo on it probably 8 months ago.
Nice.
So I still will go out and compete, but for me, the guys that are cooking with me now, they know, like, hey, man, if you have an expectation out of me that is something beyond pulling the trailer here and drinking beer, you're betting on the wrong dude.
There you go.
Because you can turn in, or I don't care if you turn in or if you don't. It doesn't matter to me.
Kosmo is right here getting us up to speed. We got a couple new rib glazes coming out here shortly. We got a brine kit for your turkey day that is still available, but fleeting, so get on that during the course of the week if you want to see it in time to get your turkey brined. And you can do that at Kosmo's Q, letter Q at the end, KosmosQ.com. Kosmo, great to catch up with you, and let's do it again a little sooner than 5 years from now.
Hey, man, you too, brother Greg, man. I miss you, man.
All right, take care. There he is. Kosmo, right there, man. Love that guy. Great interview, telling it like it is. Perfect. And right on time. It's like the old days. Ted Conrad is in the green room for from Fireboard Labs. We'll get to him here in just 1 second. I'll talk to you quickly about Southside Market and Barbecue. Established in 1882, Southside is the nation's oldest barbecue joint, owned and operated by the same family for 3 generations, offering premium Central Texas barbecue products, slow smoked over real wood, shipping, distributing, and manufacturing sausages for companies across the U.S. From food trucks to multi-chain restaurants, Southside Sausage can be on your menu as well. All meats are processed in their on-site USDA-inspected facility, a trusted partner when it comes to quality and authenticity. They're shipping nationwide via the FedEx, also through food service distribution channels like Sysco, U.S. Food, and Martin Foods. Co-packaging capable from research and development to package completion. They can follow your own personal recipe or help you develop something brand new from scratch. Private label opportunities are also available. How about private label? Yes. SouthsideMarket.com for more information. While you're there, loading up your online shopping cart. If you want to save 10% off, use promo code BBQ Central at checkout. All one word, lowercase, BBQ Central for 10% off your entire order at SouthsideMarket.com. Good on the sausage slammers, good on the hot guts, good on the cheddar hop, on everything, every time. BBQ Central, 10% off. We're back with Ted Conrad right after this. Stick around, we'll be right back.
You're listening to the #1 most downloaded barbecue and grilling podcast anywhere. The BBQ Central Show. Celebrating over 10 years of prolific and unparalleled live fire barbecue and grilling talk. And yes, it's still being done from Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the BBQ Central Show.
This portion being brought to you by Smithfield. Throughout the rest of the year, you can get tips and tricks from World Championship pitmasters like Chris Lilly, Darren Worth, Ernest Cervantes, and Childs Cridlin. By the way, as I had mentioned at the top of the show, if you're putting on a barbecue competition and you want to take part or attempt to gain a Smithfield grant, go to smokinwithsmithfield.com. That's SMOKIN, smokinwithsmithfield.com. Hit on the grant program link, fill it out, send it in, and you might be one of the lucky recipients of a Smithfield grant for 2021. Coming out of the Bully tonight, a longtime sponsor of this show, creator of the incredibly popular Fireboard 2 and Fireboard 2 Drive remote thermometer systems. And we're going to be talking about some new things coming to market, maybe a little Thanksgiving as well. That's coming up. So we race to the hotline and welcome back friend of the show, Ted Conrad. Hey, Ted.
Hey, Greg. How are you?
I am fabulous. Appreciate you making time for the show, as always. You know, Ted, last time that you were on, we were, I don't know if we were promoting or maybe a little pre-promoting of the Fireboard 2 and the Fireboard 2 Drive products. And a handful of months later now, we are nearing the close of 2020. So from a market perspective and as the company that created these products, how are they being received into the market? And are you happy with where they sit right now?
Yeah, thanks, Greg. It's been, as everybody knows, 2020 is an interesting year. And I would guess, Greg, that most interesting to say the least, but most of your the barbecue guys in the industry, I'm guessing, are kind of having the same experience where, we obviously nobody wants kind of the situation a lot of people have been through, but it seems like we benefited from the stay at home, and stay at home equals cook at home, and that equals shop at home. So we've, it's been good, and Fireboard 2 has been good, and people love the product. It's been well received. I think people like the kind of product refresh. We've kind of taken the approach that you can always make something better. We want to make every single product that we can as good as it can be. But the original Fireboard was the first step we made into the hardware business, if you will. And Fireboard 2 basically fixed, it has a much better screen, fix some of the weatherproofing issues. It's just a better unit all around. There's integrated drives. So all the things people asked for and wanted, we basically try to do that with the next generation.
Ted, when you are mentioning that, I think everybody outside of a food service is really seeing, I mean, if you're in the live fire industry, you've seen an incredible boom. As I was talking to Darian Khosravi from Cosmo's Cube before you jumped on, it's a point where what the conversations that I've had with some of the other people in the industry who are just having incredible years to the positive are saying, hey, it's so good, we got to kind of toss this year away. We can't look at it from a forecasting standpoint, this and that. Now, Cosmos Q said it over the last 6 years. He's grown 100% each year over the last 6 years. I don't think everybody else can claim that, but how are you looking at a forecasting perspective as 2020 closes and you look moving into first quarter of 2021?
Yeah, I don't know, Greg. Do you have any suggestions?
I don't know. It appears if you're not growing 100%, we're all doing something wrong. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, forecasting is a really tricky part of this business, right? And especially in our situation, I mean, good grief. I'm here at the office here tonight, but the other, side of me, I could reposition the camera, but I mean, we have inventory sitting on the shelf and we're gearing up for, the Thanksgiving, Christmas, crazy holiday season.
Yep.
And then to your point, we're looking at next year, we're looking at, March, kind of looking at going into the busy barbecue spring season, trying to figure out, okay, what do we think about the projections, right? And it's tricky. I think our best shot is I think we're going to probably gear towards things are going to stay pretty strong, but I will probably expect there'll be some normalization, especially if I think people go back to work and I think the stay-at-home phenomenon kind of goes away a little bit. I think we'll probably ratchet back our projections a little bit. For us, the good news is being kind of just a relatively small private company, if we have extra inventory, it's obviously not a great thing to have that tied up sitting on our shelf, but we don't have like investors to report to, and we certainly don't have financials. We have to go explain things out to, stockholders, and we're not, not being a publicly traded company, we don't have those types of balance sheet issues. So there's a little bit of flexibility on that side. We don't have to be totally right. And if we're wrong and have more inventory, we will eventually sell it, or so it seems.
Do you think, just your own speculation, that because there has been a stretch of a lot of people staying at home for long periods of time, whether they've kind of reopened or not, I think we're probably in for some kind of a rescale back. I mean, in Ohio, the coronavirus is spreading. We had 6,500 new cases today alone. Hospital admissions doubled over and above whatever the norm was today alone. So it's really getting out of control here. So lead me to say that maybe the continuance of cooking at home continues. When things normalize and things start to get back to a normal business picture and people working the normal, do you think because they've had so long in the cooking phase that it is something that at least for majority, but a good percentage will stick and people will continue to do this and they will continue to be on the buy for things like this?
I think so. I mean, maybe I'm more optimistic than I should be, but I feel like some of the habits that people have gotten into, I think those habits might slowly change back over time, but it's going to be, in March. And honestly, I'm not sure if I probably can't share my screen, but if I could, there's a graph, and you can see in March of our traffic hitting the server. And in March, it was just like almost an instantaneous spike within a matter of about a week.
Yeah.
It all happened. And I can see a little bit because, we're still growing, we're still selling more units, so there's more traffic because of that. But then I can see how things have tapered off a little bit from where the growth was. I think it'll be a gradual taper. I don't think it'll be like the reverse of what happened in March.
Yep.
So, but, again, we kind of plan for, having stuff on hand and, and trying to sell, obviously, to meet all the demand that we possibly can. And we'll see what happens.
Ted, are we having any type of reveal this evening, or Amazon's real big on the pre-order of books. When I had Sam the Cooking Guy on a couple months ago, we were real big in the pre-selling of books, because evidently that's a metric you need to hit if you're a book writer. So somebody who's offering products to the market that are taking remote temperatures, do we want to pre-promotion? Is that even a word? Do we want to promote something that's coming out here over the next month or 2 or 3?
Yeah. Well, when we launched Fireboard 2 in June, we launched it as basically 3 different thermometers. It's all under the Fireboard 2 heading, but we have the normal Fireboard 2, then we have the Fireboard 2 that builds in the integrated drive control. And as everybody knows, or most people know, that is a fan control. So it's variable power output, so that can regulate anything with a fan. And obviously it works great for Kamados and stuff like that. The third thermometer is what we call Fireboard 2 Pro, which is a thermocouple-based thermometer. So a little bit of a different approach to tracking temperature. People have probably seen these Type K thermocouples. I have actually a unit right back here. I'll show you, Greg. It's a little bit of a preview for you guys.
All right, preview.
But so the Fireboard 2 Pro looks very similar to the Fireboard 2, but the Fireboard 2 Pro has 3 yellow connectors, and these connectors are a standard type of connector. It's a Type K. K is in kite, but Type K connector. And anybody can buy these probes from almost anywhere out there. You type in Type K thermocouple, you can buy these probes all over the place. So the really nice thing is this thermometer will use a standardized probe, and thermocouples can go crazy hot. They can go up to like 1,200, 1,500 degrees Fahrenheit. So anybody who's cooking like pizzas, for example, we have different guys doing a lot of stuff with, believe it or not, there's a lot of people that are interested in using these for pizza ovens. In fact, we had a company out in California, Forno Bravo, that contacted us a couple years ago. And so they sell their product, I think, all over the US and maybe internationally, I'm not sure. But they wanted us to come up with a nice thermometer that they could basically sell with their pizza ovens. And at that point, we didn't have anything with the thermocouples, and we were kind of starting to work on this Fireboard 2. And that sort of brought us to the point where we said, hey, look, we could basically make a thermocouple-based version of the Fireboard 2. And it would work great for the pizza guys. It'll work great. There's some people out there with wood stoves, like these pellet stoves for heating their homes and stuff, that they've been buying Fireboard and tracking those temperatures. Obviously, low and slow barbecue, you don't have to cook it 1,200 degrees Fahrenheit. But I will say, if you get into a situation, you have like a grease fire, or you have like a hopper fire, or something goes wrong, if you've got our typical probes in there, those probes are toast. But with a thermocouple, nothing really happens. The probe wire itself is very robust. So besides for measuring high temperatures, it's a very heavy duty and robust design. When you see like cars and they're talking about the exhaust temperatures and the internal engine temperatures, for the most part, I think they're all using thermocouples. Just a very heavy duty type of probe. So we've been talking about the Pro version for a few months now. To be honest, we've had some slow parts of development just in terms of all the research and the technical details that go into this, but we're ready to go. We cut the last purchase orders a few weeks ago for all the bits and pieces to make this thermometer. So that will be coming in late November. We'll probably be shipping early December is what we're hoping.
That will be shipping to customers that are buying?
Yeah, I mean, we're not doing a pre-order. I don't think we're going to do a pre-order, but people are very much aware. In fact, we get emails every day. They're like, hey, when's a Pro coming out? And we've kind of been telling people just one more month for a few months now, and I think it's finally here. So,
what's the price point on a pro version?
Yeah, $299. So again, it is geared towards a little bit more the higher end price point, and I think people, and as the name entails, I mean, people who are more professional, people who are using this every day. Especially, we have guys that are cooking, like, commercial setting, maybe in a restaurant. Maybe they're doing catering events day in, day out. If you're doing a ton of cooking and if you've got a lot of wear and tear in your probes, I would say this is a good device to use. The nice thing is, physically or mechanically, I guess I should say, I mean, it's a large connector,
yeah, but
this thing is not breaking off. It's a very solid connection. So you can drop this, you can throw this, and nothing is going to break. So it's a nice unit.
And it looks like you're getting 3 probes instead of the traditional 6 that you would get with a normal Fireboard 2 or Fireboard 2 drive.
Right. Yeah. And and some people might say, well, that's one downside. There's only 3 on here instead of 6. I will tell you, there's probably going to be some sort of an accessory to address that in the near future that people could add on more probes. So that's always an option for people to add on probes. You can run, the other thing is you can actually run multiple Fireboards in your existing account. And if you look at your app, it would look just like you had 6 channels. So if people really, really need the extra channels, you can make that work.
And again, from a consumer's perspective, I mean, if you're somebody that's not getting into the higher heat, this might be a little overkill for you, unless you're somebody that is more of a fan of, as you say, the robust builds of the thermocouple type setting. And you want something that can take a little bit more of a beating, or maybe you're a little bit more of an animal than the rest of us finesseful type folks with our electronics, then that's maybe more up your alley on the pro side then.
Yeah, and it really just comes down to just that. I mean, it's I'm trying to think of a good analogy, but a lot of people that drive these 4x4 SUVs don't go heavy off-roading very much, but they want the ability to get through the snow if they have, or an ice storm if there's one that pops up, And so I think it's the same analogy. I think people want a device that's well built, that's pretty heavy duty, and that'll handle stuff that's kind of dished out to them. And even if you look at the metal sheath or the lead wire that's on this thing, I mean, if you were to look inside of this, we've kind of dissected one of these, but it's a fiberglass insulation. And there's actually 2 layers of insulation inside this thing. It's kind of hard to see, but there's a stainless steel overbraid, and then there's a fiberglass insulation on top of that. And then each individual wire, there's 2 wires. Each of these wires has an additional fiberglass insulation. So, I mean, this is stuff that it's kind of like, I'll geek out on this stuff, right? Because I'm kind of a nerd like this, but that makes a difference. And it's much more expensive. I mean, our cost is obviously way more for these.
Sure.
That's why the end price point of the device is $299 instead of $249 or less than that. So I think for people who are really doing a lot of stuff and who want a device that's heavy duty, I think this is what you get.
All right, and this could be shipping somewhere in the neighborhood of late November or early December, but keep checking over at fireboard.com and get the latest from Ted and the gang over there. Ted, doing anything special for Thanksgiving? You a pretty iconic guy, or you change it up?
Yeah. What's funny, Greg, I joke with Steven, my business partner, but Thanksgiving holidays for us have evolved. And not to say that they're not enjoyable, because we still enjoy Thanksgiving, but the traffic to our site, the Fireboard cloud, if you will, is about between 10 and 15x a normal weekend.
Yeah.
And so to handle that traffic, we've done a lot of work to handle that traffic correctly and to do the right things on the technology back end. But it's not exactly the same type of holiday. Everybody's cutting the turkey and sitting down and relaxing, and we're sitting there staring at the graphs and the metrics on the server, trying to make sure everything's on track. And we're at this point in the game, we're pretty well along with that. But every year that goes by, we keep on growing, and so it's a moving target. We'll be, hopefully it'll be a nice Thanksgiving holiday, but we'll be kind of keeping an eye on things, make sure everybody else's cook is on track.
All right. So we're going to appreciate that in advance, and hopefully you can enjoy whatever Thanksgiving you get to have. And, of course, we thank you for your continued support of this show. And we'll talk to you again soon. If anything else breaks news-wise, obviously, feel free to get to me, and we will disseminate it out as you see fit.
Sounds good, Greg. Have a great night. Good to talk to you.
There is Ted Conrad from Fireboard. Always enjoy the chat with Ted, getting the latest and greatest over at Fireboard. And if you don't have one, I'm telling you, man, it is one of the coolest remote thermometer controls that are out there. Holding aside this whole thermocouple situation, which I know for you guys that are really into that because you love the robustness of stuff, you're just not even worried about $299 on the price point because the robust build is where you want it. Hey, let me talk to you quickly about Green Mountain Grills, a hugely wonderful source for pellet cookers. You got a choice line, which is the original line that they had introduced any number of years ago. 3 different sizes, 2 different sizes, I guess. Jim Bowie, Daniel Boone. They do have the travel size, Davy Crockett, but that's its own hold-off. Now, they have a Prime line and a Prime line Plus as well. So if you want tech, this is how I break it down. If you want some tech, Prime Plus, those are the versions you want. You want to save a couple $100 depending on what size you're going to get. Get the choice line. They cook great. The Daniel Boone and Jim Bowie both accommodate the pizza oven insert, which is something you want to get regardless of whatever model that you ultimately put on the deck or the patio. And boy, are they a breeze to use. Great stuff. Go to greenmountaingrills.com. That's greenmountaingrills.com. They have accessories. They have pellets you can buy. They have a dealer network that you have to buy the grills from. So search those, see what's near to you. Chat up your dealer, and they will make sure you're armed with all the information. You should make a great buying decision. greenmountaingrills.com. That's greenmountaingrills.com. We're back to wrap the show right after this. Stick around. We will be right back.
Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Greg Rempe.
Hey, it's me, your homoerotic host, bringing you through to the finish line this evening. Sam the Cooking Guy's new book, if you pre-ordered it, should be hitting your doorsteps as early as today. I got mine yesterday, advanced copy, which I'm sure I'll auction off because there's, probably no way I'm going to read it. Me and books, we're always at odds. Actually, I was looking through it. I'm pretty hyped. Intentional leftovers, not international leftovers, like I had mistakenly mentioned it a number of months ago when we were pre-promoting it. All the way back in the first hour, we talked with Meathead from meatheadsamangingribs.com. Thanksgiving talk. He's bringing rubs and sauces to market next year, believe it or not. Second hour, Cosmo's Q's Darian Khosravi, Cosmo's Q with a Q at the end, cosmosq.com. And we closed it out with Ted Conrad from Fireboard.com. A new thermocouple, Fireboard 2 Pro. You want it. Big show planned for you next week. How about this? Rodney Scott will be making his appearance into the show. Yeah, Rodney Scott. September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.
the Cookout Coach, and you're listening to the Barbecue Central Show.